The pond. From the pond. Last one I had. I think it's, oh, look what I got from her.
They got it from Starbucks.
Isn't the muffin top? That's the best part. Do you ever, I would write the bottom off, I don't put it on top.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of, because I remember last time
And then
too.
you don't
Yeah,
have to
that's
get
nice.
it. Alright, so then it says Gosh, actually, I do have a pen. I didn't see your email. I usually just like take the top off and like. That's terrible. I don't know that bad, but. Oh my God, you're dumb. Wow, you said that one.
I definitely have something to do, so. Yeah.
Oh, no, I got it. I didn't, well, see, if you just.
So it's like President's Weekend. That's there.
I'm doing my. Yeah. Austin, are you taking dinner?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll-
There you go. Ready to do it?
Can I take this screen out?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna let you update feedback for ABC. What I thought of that thing. So you have another update.
Will that be under my page?
Yep. You'll be like, hey, I worked on ABC this week with Nathan and Slim and Marianne, who have all already gone.
Brayden, can you tell me where Zoom is?
Because it's very hard.
Go plus.
Oh, there you go.
It is really good. I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah, straight on side. Like an eagle. Yeah. Boom. I'm ready for show.
All minus is
Oh, Lord.
You know, get that.
Why now?
I call this meeting to order at 3:01 p.m. And now we will proceed with roll call. Karina Scott, Ryan,
Here.
Pat, here, Taylor, here, Savannah, Jackson,
Here.
Nathan,
Here.
Matthew,
Here.
Wilden,
Here.
Lauren, Sloan, here, Kelsey, here, Braden,
Here.
Enrique,
Here.
Marianne, here, Ernesto,
Here.
Michael, Jade, here, Austin,
Here.
okay, Rachel, Bryce, Katie, Veronica, Riley, Eric,
Here.
Ariana, here, Caitlin, here, Riley. Okay, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I need to approve the agenda. Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All who oppose, say nay. Okay, agenda approved. Call to the audience. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Is that me? Okay.
We have to leave it. You're official.
Okay. Okay, now you go. Oh, confirmation. Okay, now we're moving on to the confirmation of Director of Local Affairs. We have Bryce Newberry, which is being recommended by the Executive Board. So Bryce, if you want to speak.
Good afternoon. I am very excited about this opportunity, and in the last couple of months, I've really enjoyed working with USGD, and I've had the opportunity to learn a lot from Savannah about this position. I think this position is a unique opportunity to engage with students on a small and personal level, but also on a big level through events and that they come to. Some of my goals for this position are to work with other USGD departments to ensure that major issues are discussed through local affairs events, specifically meet and greets. I think those are very helpful, especially the one we did recently for the SDFC. And also reach out to and establish continuous relationships with downtown businesses for more support and like reoccurring attendance from them at our events. So.
Okay, if you would like to move forward, is there a motion to approve or discuss?
Second. Hey Bryce, first off, I'm glad you're with us. Second, I want to say, what are your plans if you were going to be appointed? Do you have any like ideas for events or events you have working?
Like new events?
Yes.
So far, I think there's a big opportunity for events that are not necessarily getting feedback from students, but opportunities for events to be very just like fun for students. And I think we do a good job of that already, but just not as often as possible, or as maybe we could. And so that's one thing that I would be interested in looking more at.
Thank you. Second.
Okay, all of those in favor of approving Bryce Newberry as the Director of Local Affairs, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Abstaining? Any abstentions? Okay, approved. There's a chair. Okay, now we're moving on to proclamation of Supreme Court Justice, which. Okay. This is Nicholas McDonald. So if you want to speak.
It's an John TV show. It's no problem. Everyone gets it wrong. I don't know. I'm really honored to be in this position. I know you guys are looking to expand Supreme Court justice positions and how originally they weren't very relevant. They're kind of like a call to job. I really hope I can make it more of a powerful position. Not necessarily powerful, but more involved. I like to be part of everything that happens here. I don't know. I hope I can go to our meetings if I can, or be useful to them at least. And I'm really glad to be part of the team. Thanks.
Is there a movement to discuss?
Move to discuss. Why are you interested in this position?
I'm interested in the position. Mostly, I want to be involved. I've been trying to. I'm a sophomore, and I'm trying to I didn't get a lot last year because I like to find things that I enjoy and commit myself to them with all the energy I can. And I tried to get into USGD before, and I didn't try very hard. And I'm really glad that I find something. You guys have an opening for this. I found something I can really participate in. And it seems like a good fit because I'm an objective, conscientious, pretty social person. And I thought this was a great opportunity for me. Just, get into something bigger than myself and become a part of a group that I'm really trying to look for over a year or so, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it is. Thank you. I'm going to vote.
Okay, all those in favor of approving Supreme Court Justice Nicholas Mashad to the position, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, approved. All right, and I was told that we want to make a suggestion to you guys to approve the minutes and add it into the agenda.
We need to amend the agenda to add approval of minutes so that we can basically approve the minutes because we do not have that on the agenda. So will there be a motion for that?
I move to approve the minutes.
To add the agenda.
I move to amend line, do I add a line? I'm sorry.
To line 7.
Add to line 7 to approve the meeting minutes.
Oh, okay. All those in favor of adding the approval of minutes to line 7, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Okay. Is there any discussion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Okay, now we're moving on to Student Wellness Initiative presentation.
That's me. Do you mind if I turn off half the light?
If you figure it out, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see what this does. Oh.
You're welcome to do that if you want, we'll be okay.
No? Is this good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Whatever. That's fine.
Because
we're.
There's a little slide at the bottom on the right corner. There's a little present button.
Right here.
No,
Sorry.
it looks like
That
the
was-
thing.
I know, I just can't see anything.
Just the very bottom, that one.
I might skip to the next one, so the next slide really quick, so we might have to put it back.
Do you want us to give this to you or do you want
Yeah,
me to?
that'd be cool.
Oh, it's doing it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Auburn Dush. I'm a senior in the EXW program. And my friend Daniel and I are actually, he couldn't be here today. He has an interview for PT at NAU for next year. But he and I are doing a new ASU wellness program. And we wanted to run it by you guys just to give you an idea of what we're doing. And to start off, I'm going to talk about ASU's retention rate. So at ASU, we have a 78% retention rate. That means 22% of first-year students drop out. And to put that into perspective for you guys, we admitted 11,000 freshmen in 2014 and 2,000 of them dropped out. And that's quite substantial because compared to the University of Virginia, at the top, you see they admitted 15,000 freshmen and only 450 of them dropped out. So that's like a huge difference compared to us. So we wanted to focus on what makes students stay. So right now, you guys are right here, student government, but you guys are one of the reasons why students stay at ASU, because you guys engage students in living in a community. And a lot of students don't feel like that, and that's kind of part of why we're doing this. The next part is what we asked the question, what are the main factors that influence college students? And as an EXW major, this is what we focus on primarily, is the 8 dimensions of wellness. So this includes emotional, environmental, spiritual, all the ones that you see up here. And no other college in America is doing this right now. They're not doing a holistic wellness program. And the only people that are really doing this right now are elite corporate wellness competitors. For example, like Exos is doing this with Google and Apple right now. So, which is really cool. We can be above the elite. Like, we can be like the Apple, the universities. So the first one I want to talk about is financial. And I'm going to give you a kind of idea of what we're going to be doing with each dimension. And so the first part for the freshmen, we're going to work with them and do workshops with Mid-First Bank and the financial aid office. For example, this is a funny example, but I'm going to call him Mark. Mark and I went to Mexico together, as well as Marianne. Mark and I went to Mexico, and Mark took out a $1,500 loan just to go to Mexico. And he was a freshman student, and well, he wasn't a freshman student. He was a higher level student, but he almost dropped out last year. And I don't think students know that, like, if you take out a loan, you have to pay it back even if you don't complete college. So that's kind of what we want to give these students, the freshman an idea of. Also money management applications and financial planning. The next one is emotional. So how many of you guys have experienced stress at all at ASU? Raise your hand. All right, thank you, quite a few of you. And how many of you think that it affected your academic performance? Yeah? Okay, well, these are the numbers at ASU currently. 70.1% of students said that they've experienced stress, and 30% say that it affected their performance. And this is huge at ASU right now, and especially like all the universities in the country, because gun violence is so prevalent that we don't really know which students are having these feelings. We don't have like a way to target them. And so if we have a program that has this, then maybe we can actually target the students that are at risk for this. And that's one of the main things that emotional is going to focus on. And we're going to have the 400 level EXW program does stress management techniques, and they're willing to do some programs. And we're also offering to the freshmen free massages by Karina's dad, which is not by Karina's dad, but by the program. And the next one's social. So this one, we want to create like an atmosphere with the students that where they can feel proud of their health and nutritional progress. And we want it to be, the research is going to be student-led. So we're not going to be the ones that are collecting the data. They're going to be collecting it and bringing it to us. That way that they can learn on their own. You know what I mean? Like, we're not forcing them to like have behavior changes, and they're not making them themselves. And the next one's spiritual, and we really don't know if we're gonna stick with this, because we don't want to force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. We'll probably just lead them towards like meditation and yoga. But yeah, that's kind of the way we're leading on that one. Occupational. This is a huge one that I am very passionate about. When I was a freshman, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my degree. I was going in the exercise and wellness program because I was like, I'm going to be a PT and I'm going to save everyone. But realistically, after going through the program, like now I'm leaning more towards public health. And I feel like when you're a freshman, you don't really know what you're doing. And we want to give them like opportunities to job shadow. And another key part of this one too is a mock conference. We're going to have the freshmen come, dress up, have a meal for them, have a PT speak, and that way they can actually experience a professional environment. and develop professional speaking skills as freshman students. The next one is physical, and this one's super big. This one is what we're good at in the EXW programs, and all the freshmen that participate in this is going to get a free Fitbit. And the Fitbit is going to be tracked on an app that we're developing currently, and it's going to track their physical progress, calories, and we're going to also have the nutritionists in the nutrition program like come up with plans for the students to give it nutritional advice. But the key to the Fitbits are, if you participate in the program, we're going to give them to everyone. Also, if you increase in your physical performance, we also are going to do a fee reduction in the tuition for the EXW students. If you improve, and if you decrease, we're going to do free personal training at the SDFC or group training. The next one's intellectual. And this one is already monitored by ASU pretty well, so we're just going to do progress reports on academics. And the next one's environmental. And this one's kind of difficult because, as we know, we're all college students and we like to experiment. And they're freshmen and they're transitioning from high school to college, so it's kind of a big change in what they're doing. But we're just going to see if we can try to change the social norms and the stigma towards drinking or like sex, other things that students have to go through in their lives. And right now, this is what we're doing. It's going to be a research project. My friend Daniel and I are entering the Changemaker Challenge. We're going to increase the retention rate of the College of Health Solutions. The online coaching, the way it's going to work really is there are going to be 30 freshman students. 5 of them are going to be paired with a health coach, 1 health coach, so that's 6 health coaches. And we're going to track them over a course of a semester. That's in the spring. So this is the timeline. Right now we have the support from the Well Devils, EXW faculty, Karina, she's got my bag. Who else do we have? The SDFC, right, and we're just trying to get all the support, and that's why I'm coming here today, is to, so you guys know what we're doing, and we can hopefully get your guys' support too in what we're doing. And we're not becoming an organization, Karina. Yeah, we're not going to become an organization. We're actually going to be under either exercise and wellness organization or the Well Devils, because it's kind of a lot to create like a charter or a constitution and elect officers and all that. So yeah, that's it. Thanks. Do you guys have any questions or ideas or anything? Yeah?
I have a question.
Sure.
During your presentation, you talked about stress and how it correlates to gun violence. Is that something that has been studied and proven?
Well, it's not necessarily stress. It's just it's a whole dimension of emotional wellness. Like gun violence kind of goes towards that because it focuses on depression and anxiety and stress related. You know what I mean? So we're going to try to figure out, the way that we're doing it right now is developing a program to see what we can target. And we want to specifically lean towards gun violence because everything that's going on. You know what I mean? But it doesn't, I don't know if there's a study that directly relates to stress. I can look into that though. That's probably what we have to do a lot of research. Yeah.
What are your guys' goals for, like, because you said you were a senior, like, do you plan on continuing the program? Like,
Yeah,
what are those goals?
Yeah, I'm actually applying to public health grad school at ASU. So I want to continue with the research as far as it goes. When it comes to the population, we want to keep our sample size like as diverse as possible. So we want to get off-campus, in-state, out-of-state, on-campus, off-campus, out-of-state, in-state, different types of people when it comes to body weight, ethnicities, anything really. So yeah.
So is this still in the concept stage right now? Has this not?
Right now,
this?
Right now, this is kind of, well, we're making it a thing. Right now, we're doing funding and program planning.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So nothing's actually been moved yet?
Well, when it comes to what?
Well, I mean, for some of these things like reduction of tuition fees, you'd be needing to talk with administration.
We are, yeah. Those are all in the process of the next 2 weeks. I have meetings set up like back to back every day. We're meeting with administration and talking to the dean's office and all of that. Do you guys like it? Do you think it's cool? Okay, so I'm kind of nervous about it. It's awesome, and if you guys want to be involved in it, like we need like as many people as possible. We want to get everybody's ideas. That way we can incorporate them into the program. So yeah. Anyone more questions?
You know, sure.
Sure.
So I got a lot of, one of these other things too is, so has this already been approved by Issue Wellness and they're saying go ahead and be
Yeah.
backed by Issue Wellness?
Yes.
Okay, and you're backed by either Exercise and Wellness, EWO, or the other organization?
Yeah, we were thinking of actually becoming our own org, but the time, because we want to start this next semester, and it's already like the beginning of November. So we want to like go under the umbrella of the Well Devils. That way they can help us with funding as well as get your guys' approval for funding. And we're applying for the Changemaker Challenge too, so maybe we can get some money from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said this because I was taking it and stuff, but
That's fine.
as far as the Fitbits go, is that gonna come straight from funding from us or just like?
Well, they're giving us discounts. So
Okay,
right now
that's
I'm
good.
talking to them,
Okay.
and so far they've given us 20% off.
Okay.
But if we can get like a 50 or 100% off, if this research actually like goes somewhere, we can be ordering thousands of Fitbits, and that would be wonderful from them. Like we can actually partner with Fitbit.
Yeah.
So if they see the potential in that, I think we can get free ones.
Is this EXW major only, or are you?
Yeah, right now it is, because with the whole occupational side, we
Yeah.
can't really like do job shadowing for nutritionists or public policy yet. That's the whole idea of the research is to scale it up. And that's what we're gonna be doing the whole time during the research is learning how to scale it up towards different policies. So even if you're in a different major, like if you come in and help out, maybe in the following semesters, you guys can have your input for your majors and start it up.
Have you considered kinesiology?
Yes, we
like
considered,
they kind of go hand in hand.
yeah, we considered kinesiology. One of the health coaches is actually a kinesiology student. She's a senior. So I think we might do kinesiology and ESW, but I'm not sure about nutrition yet. We kind of want to just keep it like in those two majors so right now. Just curious. Any more questions? Yeah.
Is there a way we can get a copy of your presentation?
Yeah, I emailed it to someone here. Who did I email it to?
Lauren and I.
Oh, okay. She can send it to you. Yeah.
I just had a question because at the beginning you were talking about retention rates.
Mhm.
And so I guess, is this whole thing based off of retention rates? And then are you incorporating the fact that a lot of those students, because that data, the students who are dropping out of school, or the students who are dropping out of school and transferring to other universities?
They're dropping out entirely. So what we're doing, the whole reason why we're doing the research in the program is because we want to see what factors influence the students the most, and if we can deter that in any way, like to help ASU retention rates.
So where's that number from?
It's from the ASU web. Well, the retention specialist, Abby Weisel, gave me the information.
Okay.
So, she's awesome. Anybody else? Questions? Do you guys have any ideas for it? Like, really quick? Can you think of anything for stress management? Nothing? We have tons of ideas too, yeah.
Well, I'll just say that there's a lot of stuff that you already mentioned that's already somewhat going on, so if you can link that.
Exactly, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Like, that's why we partnered really well with the Well Devil Coalition, because they have unlimited resources when it comes to wellness.
Yeah.
So. Anybody else? You good? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're Karina. Oh. Do you mind if I head out now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll turn the light on.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, wake you up.
Now we're moving on to funding requests.
Sorry, I tried to send you a text message. She had.
Okay.
You still have to make a decision, guys.
I need to amend line 8 line motion to amend line 8 of the agenda, line 9, excuse me, of the agenda to, let's take it out. Strike line 9.
Do you want to just table it?
Table it.
Table.
A second. Okay, all those in favor of tabling, line 9, the funding request, can you raise your placard? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Now we're moving on to executive updates, starting with the Vice President Services.
Hello, everybody. So first, I want to mention that the Sentinel Express report is going to be at the next Senate meeting. So this is the one where I'll be giving the full report of it, and then you will go back and caucus in the next week and have a full discussion about what amendments you want to make to the service for the next semester. So I've been working with Savannah on a PR campaign to push out feedback and get more feedback on the Sentinel Express. So we are going to be asking you to help with that feedback. I know it's important to you all that the service is running in the way that you want it to, and so our success in obtaining feedback is really going to depend on your help in getting that feedback too. So I'll be working with Ariana and my other intern, Katie, and we'll be working to push this feedback survey out and to work to get feedback. We really will be needing your help. I also met with Karen Moses and Jessica from ASU Wellness and Sydney from Well Double Coalition to discuss some of the beginning stages of the collegiate recovery program that I believe I've mentioned before. So Sydney and I will have a follow-up meeting next week to further those discussions. We have a pretty solid idea of where we want to start, and so we'll be getting that off the ground pretty soon. I've also been spending a lot of time talking to student organization leaders and emailing the student organization leaders to answer their questions, so that communication has been going really well. Slides for Advice is going to be on November 17th. I'll be sending out a sign up for that in the next couple of days. And then homecoming, I hope you all saw my homecoming email to sign up to participate in the block party, also to participate in the other events that are going on. We like to show our faces at events as USGD and represent our students, so definitely send as many of those as you possibly can.
So then we have a question over time, right?
What?
For the block party, that's
Yeah.
an attempt. Okay, that's what it says.
Yeah.
I really had to ask.
Yes.
Great.
Those are all the updates today.
Now we're moving on to Vice President of Policy.
Alright. So, a lot of expansion right now, just with a few good closures to some of our projects. That was a bad sentence, but what's going on so far is that we know that the GPSA has now offered us a training with Expect More Arizona about advocacy. We're going to be sending that out in a more palatable way, so you can actually read it and not be completely overwhelmed by certain things soon. That'll be actually during the time when we will be at Arizona Board of Regents. Arizona Board of Regents is at Tucson, so bear down. It'll be from November 18th to November 20th. And so, this will be a very good one. If you have any last requests for going towards this Board of Regents, we currently have 5 members signed up. You need to let me know by the end of today, because otherwise paperwork's going in. This will be one of the last opportunities that you guys have to talk with NAU and U of A before things happen in the budget and before the state comes back into session in the second week of January. So beyond that too, some other good news, we have been offered you'll see in the emails today, since I've been catching up, we've been offered a tour of the Capitol by Representative Ken Clark from a recent, from our area, because he was at Spartan Democracy, so we reconnected there. So if you want to see all the different places that we'll be running around in spring, we let you go. We would appreciate your attendance in that case. And then more importantly too, request to speak. We went down there, we found it. It's actually really simple. It's scarily simple, but all we need is your first name, your last name, and your email address. And then we can either make up a password for you or you can choose a password for you. But we highly recommend that you basically give us this information. That way we can have you signed up at the Capitol, which authorizes you to make an opinion on anything that's going on in the committees without actually being there. So the beauty of this system is that you never have to actually speak, even though it's a request to speak. it'll actually allow you to say, this is what my opinion is by typing it and saying, I do not want to speak. And you can do that at the Capitol, you can do that outside the Capitol, but we have to get you registered on a Capitol computer for that to work. You can register online outside of the Capitol, but it won't allow you to actually put anything in until your account is registered at that Capitol computer. So give that information to us soon, so next week we can go down there and just put all the information in at once. We highly recommend that. Besides that, we've been doing a lot of meetings, particularly the one that I'll touch upon, because my directors have a lot more at this point, would be the meeting with Parking and Transit with William Robinson. And the fact is that right now, parking, which is a major concern among most of our students, is not exactly sustainable for the long term. So the end of this meeting is that we have a lot of short-term fixes right now, including things like Fillmore lot, which is a very new lot that we got about half this parking slots in, and East Garage, which still has spaces. But wait lists continue to be at their peaks. Wait lists continue to be present no matter what. And we seem to see this just overwhelming amount of more out-of-state students that are living in Taylor Place bringing their cars. We see more people coming into the campus. The campus is expanding, and even things like the law school building. The law school building will be bringing in negative parking spaces because it has about 160 of them, and there's going to be a lot more than 160 people with cars at the law school. So we're looking at multiple things. It'll always be multiple options to make sure that this works. But know that there may be a legitimate move to try to not encourage people to not necessarily bring their car if they can have another route, because it's going to be too costly for them, and it will be both in time and in money to try to find any of these spaces, because not only is this happening, we still have rumors that local businesses want to see the spaces north of the current parking meter zone metered. Because it makes sense, because after we got pushed out of the areas surrounding us, what happened? It moved slightly north and bothered a whole new row of businesses. So this parking incident, while naturally something that will basically be present, is not exactly the best situation right now, to the point where you're probably going to see people not having the opportunity unless they go really, really early, and we're going to be trying to do a lot more to encourage them to use the other sources of transportation, because the only other options that they're thinking of that could suit this kind of demand would be basically satellite parking spaces, parking lots, where you have something like something we buy out of parking garage north of Hance Park, and then you get shuttled down here, or you take the light rail down here, and we don't necessarily believe that students are willing to do that. So that's what parking is looking like. Beyond that, K-12 override and bond elections went mostly well, so education had a few good weeks. And I think that'll be what I'll share for now, unless there's any questions. Okay.
Moving on to the presidential update. Hi, everybody.
So, as I just want to let you all know, so this year, as you know, I serve on the board of trustees and the student trustee. We have meetings twice a year, so this is the week of the meetings. So that's why I have the email reminder right now that says if I don't respond as quickly, I apologize. And so I've been attending all those, and really the big message that I want to give back to all of you is that it was an incredibly good reminder of the core values and the charter that ASU stands on, and the fact that ASU truly, truly does believe in the potency and the power of all of its students. And so I especially want to remind the Senate of that, just because you, especially the voting power of our team, are especially powerful, but all of our students and our whole executive team as well. Everybody truly, truly believes that the best ideas and the best opinions come from our students. And Dr. Crow has said it himself. He speaks to individuals that I cannot even imagine speaking with, and he still says that some of his most impactful meetings come from the students. And so I encourage all of you to bring up all the ideas you have, no matter what you want to see happen, challenge the things that you're seeing, and continue to tell us ways that we can improve, because ASU supports that. So we go to the most innovative school in the nation, so think of crazy ideas and bring them up. So that's what I want to say from there. This past Friday, we had another Arizona Student Government Collaborative meeting. So again, those are the meetings with all of the presidents of the undergrad student governments across Arizona. So unfortunately, overall, this collaborative is not being as productive as I want it to be. And so I'm trying to figure out a way in order to make sure that everybody within the collaborative sees the value of it and wants to put a lot of time into it to make sure we get the product we're expecting of it. Right now, everyone has been charged to bring back a general idea on what our AMOR agenda might be, bring it back to their university and kind of see how their university reacts to it. And then we're supposed to kind of talk about this again. But as you know, we're going to be meeting up again intensely at ABOR because we're supposed to have a very, very long day on Friday in which we all are just discussing together, brainstorming, forming this collaborative and whatnot. And I think some people are waiting for that. And so I'm hoping that that'll be a good push in the sense that we'll be there and we'll be present. And so it'll be hard to not kind of be productive in the sense that it'll be easier to hold each other accountable because we'll be in the same kind of space. So that's an update on that. So one thing for you to know, so next week I'm going to put in the office. So speaking of crazy ideas, you all have to deal with this silly idea. But anyway, so we're going to have a red notebook in the office. It's going to be called the idea notebook. There's a clause in the notebook that explains what it is, but it's literally just a space where I would love for you, if you ever don't know what to do in office hours, you sit with that book, you write down any ideas you have, you collaborate with others to write down ideas. It's supposed to be one, it's a place where we record them all, so other staff members can get other ideas if they look back on past ideas, as well as a place that we can show that to next year's staff and say, these are some of the things we brainstormed on. I would love if I could look at the last 4 years and know what all the brainstormings were. So that's kind of the mentality behind it, but the mentality is the fact that innovation is incredibly important and new ideas are incredibly important to the progress of an organization. So I encourage all of you to basically utilize that and write in it. Taylor actually is awesome, and she said that she's going to actually be interviewing for our facilities fee board, so that's an update on that. We have staff members that stepped up, a bunch here that are going to be helping me put the core values in the office, so thank you. I attended Sparking for Democracy. We got to talk to Ken Clark, which was really amazing. Just so you know, we had a total of 12 staff members that completed all the SDSN training except for Kat and I, because we already completed it. So with Kat and I, it's 14. So thank you everybody that did take the time to make it to every single minute of those trainings and do all of the videos. I really appreciate it. New polos have arrived. Yay! So I'm going to pick them up in Tempe and bring them back here. And that way you all can have them, or I'm just going to have them deliver them to us. But they have arrived, and so you all should have your new polos next week. So that's good. That's awesome. One other thing I want to add real quick about the block party and homecoming, actually about the dance. We have our dance held downtown, and PAB is requesting help for it, just because it's a huge event, and PAB has not as large of a staff as, for example, like the Tempe PAB. And so they're requesting help with that, as well as way far away from now, they're requesting help with some other kind of football games. But just so, I'm going to send out these emails, but I really, really just want to encourage you to help them, just because we are really trying to make sure we have one cohesive unit between RHAP and USGD. And so if you are available to help me up for the dance or to help set up for the dance, they really appreciate that. So you all know the Dr. Pro Forum, you all get an email, will be November 30th for us. So it's all campuses that will participate in that, but it will be actually physically downtown. So Dr. Go will be downtown and our students will be here, but then we're going to live stream in all the other locations. And then basically what we do is we do a question for each location, so on and so forth, so everyone gets to participate in it. So you'll see that marketing start coming out. Just so you all know, so you are aware, so you all know that we have, yeah?
Point of information,
Yes.
what time is that?
4.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody. So you all know about it, thank you. Okay, that's it for that. My other thing is that I met with a lot of student reporters this week, and so I just want to continue to encourage all of you to do the same. It's really good to keep them updated on everything that we're doing. And then a lot of mine was I had different instances in which I had to prepare different small kind of speeches for the Board of Trustees. That's a lot of my work on was this week. You all know that we're having conversations with some other businesses about possible transportation kind of outlets, and so we continue those conversations. I talked to a student that might apply for the USGD Wellness intern position, so I'm very excited for that. I met with Chad Ellsworth, and we decided on the next step for the SDSC renovations, and so we're hoping to have a meeting this upcoming Friday at 10 a.m. for the SDSC renovations to do final brainstorming on that. And I believe those are all of my updates. Yeah, thank you.
Now we're moving on to director reports, starting with the chief of staff.
Hi everyone, happy Friday. My first announcement is super exciting. We have selected an MVP for October. So congratulations, Nathan. You are our MVP. You've been doing such great work, and so thank you so much for all of the work that you do for USGD. I also want to congratulate the MVP nominees who were Kat, Ryan, Jade, Marianne, and Ernesto. So great job to all of you as well. So I sent out an Eventbrite for our second family dinner. It'll be at Short Leash on November 20th from 6:30 to whenever everyone wants to leave, I guess. They're reserving their entire patio for us, so it's super important that you RSVP and kind of stick to your RSVP. That way we can let them know how many seats that we want reserved, so we don't take up their whole patio for a Friday night. So everyone got the whole doodle poll thing from me for our mandatory team building activity. Sundays and Saturdays just aren't working for this month, so we're moving this whole mandatory thing for next semester. And it'll be kind of like a beginning team builder, get back into the swing of things type of event. So I'll have that date on the calendar as soon as possible so that everyone will be able to attend. I put the office rules sheet and office hours expectation sheet on the door in the USGD office, and the sheet was compiled with all of the ideas from the exec board. And so please let me know if you have any feedback about that, or if there's something that you don't agree with that I put on there, or if there's something that you think I should add. And that concludes my updates, so I yield.
Okay, moving on to, we don't have a director of administration, so director of public relations. Okay, director of finance.
Hey, everyone. As you may or may not have heard, I had a concussion, pretty severe. I'm just trying to get back and swing into things. It's taking some time. It's taking more time than I thought it would. So with that, doing my best to keep everything updated. I can send out the updated budget spreadsheet, but for kind of my personal sake and my health, I'm not going to like read my screen for too long. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So good to be back. I'm working, trying to get all of the other financial directors throughout the other universities. Karina set this up for us, that to kind of get on board and kind of come together with university-wide policies on how to proceed in financial hearings and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully it'll be in the office next week. So, Taylor, I'm sorry for not doing more reports. Well,
Okay. Okay, moving on to director of local affairs, Bryce.
We are going to work on the transition and probably start figuring out a date to have the last meet and greet of the semester.
Okay, director of technology.
Okay, so not a whole lot for me. You should have all received my technology support contacts list. So pretty much if anything breaks under any circumstances, there is somebody to call and they can probably fix it for free. And it's on that list, so use it, distribute it. Good resource. We had somebody leave VGO, so that kind of put a hold on a lot of my projects, but I am regaining traction on all of them. So that is what has transpired for me this past week. I yield. Or any questions? Okay, I yield.
Director of university affairs.
Hey everybody, thank you all for the MVP nomination. I'm honored. It's always a delight and I'm really excited to just move forward with you all. This has been a great experience, so thank you all for that. This week, actually today, I spoke with Veronica about a town hall event that we're trying to schedule. It'll be based around education. We're looking towards AE England, where the First Amendment Forum in Cronkite to have it. We're looking for speakers, people that know about education, policy, tuition, all that good stuff that we'll be looking for, as well as food. So we have that in the works, and that's going to be November 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. With UBCs, I had some interviews and appointments that happened. Yesterday, I interviewed Alexandria Garza. She's awaiting approval right now. I also meant to email Ernesto Hernandez, who's been appointed to the Public Safety Advisory Committee. And he just found out about it right now. I'll send you an official email too.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the rest of the UBC updates will come from Sloan and what we went and had going on for our meeting yesterday. I also had an impromptu meeting with Ryan about bills, legislation, and I actually was able to get the UT Austin bill from somebody in their admin building. I don't know where it was from, but I just looked online and found her. And she sent me their own resolution that they put together. So together, Ryan and I kind of pieced together and changed our Senate Resolution 4 to kind of mirror that a little bit, which we'll talk about later on. And then, as Karina mentioned, the Dr. Crow Forum going on November 30th from 4 to 5 p.m. in St. Carlos. Let your friends, constituents, anybody know. It's going to be a good event. I yield my time if there are no questions. Yeah.
Who is your other UBC interviewee?
Alexandria Garza. Okay.
Okay, Director of State Municipal Affairs.
Ryan already talked about our meeting with Parking and Transit. Caitlin and I met with Councilman Nowakowski the other day. That was very good, very similar to the one before. We've been continuously pursuing stances from state legislators on ABOR, and speaking of ABOR, I have condensed the budget and the deregulatory agenda, talking points and information down to one-page briefs each. And yeah, it's
Okay, I just wanted to make a suggestion to you all to change the location, since we did have to change our location for the St. Carlos room on the agenda. So sorry. If you want to.
I move to amend the location.
Is there a second? Second.
Okay, all those in favor of moving the location, please raise your placard to 20 across St. Carlos. Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay, so Lauren, to go along with Senate President report, Lauren did not send me any report, so I'm just going to do my report in Quahog. So moving on to college reports.
Okay, I have. In terms of Barrett, our dean meeting has been scheduled for next week, I think. Let me see. No, November 16th. So we'll be meeting with her, and I'm sure we'll be talking about the Barrett expansion in terms of offices. I helped Kat out this week, and I got all the Sun Devil Express posters posted in all the contract buildings that were already signed up for, so that's all done. And in terms of UBC, we were gonna table next week, but because of just like communication with Taylor Mall and all that, we've moved that to the 24th of November. Through my office hours, I ended up contacting all the current UBC representatives and asking if they were available to table at that time, and the feedback on like how it's going so far. And I received feedback from all of them, but the ASU Commission of the Status of Women one. And other things I worked on, I helped Riley with her AZ Central article for the universities. I revamped the UBC like roster contact sheet in the Google folder, and that looks really nice now. It's really organized. And the last thing is, this week in my sign language class, we got to meet with some students that were deaf, and we got to sign with them and talk to them, and I told them that I was a senator, and we kind of got to talking about some of the things that they have concerns about, and one of the biggest things is just TVs around campus don't have closed captions on, so they actually can't like watch the TV from their perspective, just because they can't have the closed caption. And it's a really simple solution I think I'll work on, or we can work on, just to get closed captions turned on, and also
You know when Michael Crow sends out those like really awesome like bingo videos like every once in a while? They don't come with closed captions either. So all of our deaf students in the deaf population, there's no transcript with them either. So they can't actually see them or do anything with them. So I was thinking about kind of working on that and seeing what we can do there. The deaf population is small at ASU, but it's still, I think, important enough to help their needs for being able to be just like all of us. So I do.
Okay, moving on to hi everybody. So I have several things to update about. One thing is I went to the PTS advisory board meeting this morning at 8:30 in Tempe, and we talked about three important things. The first thing is the weekend shuttles. We're still discussing on what the final decision is for the weekend shuttles, because we're not having increased amount of riders riding on the weekends. So this is the summary for the cold shuttle, the moon shuttle. You can pass that around and just like look at it, all the specific numbers that we have. So at the meeting today, there was representation like from downtown. We had both of ours and our people, and then Tempe and one representative from West. Polly's representatives were not present, so there were only 4 out of 8 representatives present at the meeting. We met with J.C. Porter, who is the Assistant Director of Community Services, and Ray Humberg, who is the Associate Director of Community Services, and they overlook all the services on campus, including like shuttles, parking, anything related to that. So the concerns that we had was that the weekend shuttles, it is very costly to run the shuttles on the weekends. Right now they're on an every hour schedule, and they have suggested to cut to every other hour. And West and Poly have put up the most, opposition towards it, because they really want that accessibility for their campuses, because they don't have a light rail like our campus does between Tempe campus. So there's a lot of uncertainty there, but there's only about like 14 riders on like one day per day. So I think typically 1 every hour that the shuttle is running. We're gonna have to discuss about that to make a final decision. So any decision that we make will be, the changes will be made after winter break. So for the rest of the semester, it's going to be running on the every hour schedule. If anyone has any feedback, or if you've heard from any students, please let me know so that I can report back to the board so that they can make their decisions accordingly. Another thing we talked about was parking, which is what Ryan talked about earlier in his updates. And so typically, each space for either a parking garage or a parking lot, each space to build is between 12,000 to 15,000 per space, and that's like the basics of a parking space. So if you want like a nice looking one, it's gonna be more than that. And then to maintain it, it's $600 per year per space. So when people are paying for their permits for parking, it's not because ASU wants to make a profit off of it, it's because they're actually paying for the maintenance of the space and for what it costed to build that in the first place. And so when they were talking about the law building being built right now, there's going to be a garage underneath, and that parking is going to be mostly for faculty and for staff. So that's not open parking to students, which is a concern because downtown keeps growing, especially since that's going to be an academic building. It's just going to bring other more like people on our campus, and we have to find ways to accommodate for that. So they've talked about some lots in the area, and I think there was the east garage they're talking about. They had some spaces and thinking about expanding more spaces in that garage, and they're looking also to find more lots to purchase. But a concern that they brought up was that every time ASU is interested in buying a lot, the price of it goes up because it's like an interest type of thing. So demand for that. So every time ASU wants to get a parking spot, it just kind of goes up.
So they're trying to work on negotiating with real estate to get that down, and they're working really hard on that. The last thing that I want to talk about is walk-only zones. So one concern was that crosswalk in front of Taylor Mall on First Street is continually being a problem, especially during times of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. during classes. It's a constant traffic, people just crossing and then cars trying to get through there, and it's really dangerous because sometimes a police aid would be there, but then they can't be there all the time because they have other things to do. That's not their one job to do. So what I brought up to the board was finding someone either during those times you need to be a crossing guard there more often instead of just a police aid who's available. So that was one concern that I brought up. And then possibly turning Taylor Mall into a walk-only zone, because as there's more students going through, they are riding their bikes and longboards, skateboarding through there, and it's really dangerous because people are walking, and if you're not looking where you're going, it can cause a lot of problems. So I have to go figure out ways to do that. So I have to go talk to the dean and talk to her about possibly making that, and also get feedback. If that's what the students really want, then that's something that we would move forward with. And once that is established, PTS would be in charge of maintaining that. That's all the updates. Sorry, that's kind of
All right, so a little short on my end, mainly just having to do with the game night event. Last Friday, me, Ernesto, and Michael, thank you. Michael and I hammered it out for about an hour, and we scaled back the event quite a lot. We decided to have it within the first floor of the student center, because we feel that in areas such as England would be too large, and the scope of the event would drastically change. So the projected budget for this event would be at low, I would say possibly 1,300, not surpassing 1,500. Most of the money going towards the gaming features, and all the rest going towards food. We are taking suggestions for food. I'll probably have to talk with you, since you have a better understanding of what student orgs need in events for food in terms of events. We did have to push it back to early next semester, because we felt that about 20 to 25 days wasn't enough time to plan this event. So, see what we get done. That's all I got.
Now we're moving on to policies.
Hi guys. Sorry we're under the weather, so I may not be at the wish I was. But I have a lot of good updates for you guys this week. I've been working on a lot of personal projects myself. First being regarding condoms in the marketplace. I have seen a lot of student orgs focusing more on safe sex and stuff like that. And I did survey a lot of the merchandise that we have in the marketplace, and there are no condoms. Although I do know that health services does offer them for free, but that's only when health services is open. So after that, students aren't given access to free condoms. So I do feel that students should be given access 24/7, just because someone could go downstairs and say, oh, there's no condoms. We don't have to use one. Where's the safe sex in that? So I did email Stephen Lambert, who is the director for food sales and stuff down here. Basically, he's the food service director for Airmark. And basically he said that, quote, we have been instructed by ASU not to sell them within the markets on campus and point the students to health services, end quote. So I'll be working to get support from our club orgs just to kind of get this going, because I do feel like it should be accessible 24/7, free too if we can, because it's not promoting safe sex at all.
This was also something that I tried to get started last year, and last year it was very deadlocked. So I completely support this and think that this should be a thing. But yeah, keep me updated, because I want to see where this goes this year.
Yeah, I do feel like I mean, I'm sure a student has walked down there and like, oh, they have no condoms. Okay, you know, and I just think that's a good idea, and that's, I expressed that ASU has so many clubs just promoting safe sex, and that's just against that. So I'll be working with clubs and orgs to get support from them and moving forward with this. Also, I did have an encounter, it was a good encounter with the police aide. Basically, one of my friends had a paper cut, and she was looking for a Band-Aid. So I was going to walk to health services to get her one, but I did see a police aide. I said, excuse me, sir, may I have a Band-Aid, please? And he said, oh, we're not supposed to carry Band-Aids. We walked down to student services, health services for Band-Aid. And I was like, weren't you supposed to assist in situations like this? And he's like, yeah, but that's not in our job description. I was really upset. So I emailed Commander William Orr for downtown with ASU PD, and I did tell him, like, I believe officers should be carrying Band-Aids because, you know, one's really small things, like, it's not that heavy at all. And, I mean, they're first responders, so they should be able to assist in a situation like that, which is very simple, I believe. It's not like you have to call paramedics and come down and put a Band-Aid on a kid or something. And I did get a response from him. He said, quote, our officers are equipped to handle major incidents, active shooter, workplace violence, etc. As you can imagine, our vehicles are loading with large amounts of equipment geared towards life-saving and these types of major incidents and to stabilize injuries until fire personnel can arrive to take over. Items in the vehicles on our persons means of transportation have to be evaluated based on the need of life-saving ability before it can carry space is limited. End quote. So, I mean, basically, it was, to my understanding, it's like, oh, we can't carry those because we have too much to carry. I'm kind of upset because it's not that hard to carry a Band-Aid. I mean, we all can carry a Band-Aid in our pocket. So I am going to email him again and meet with him, hopefully. He hasn't gotten back to my question of meeting him, so I'll talk to him about that. Other than that, excuse me, I did meet with our, it was on the agenda too, and they did have to leave. They're called the Sun Devils Are Better Together organization, kind of religious group. They have like atheists, they have Christians, they have Muslims, they have Mormons, they have all different religious groups and non-religious groups just coming together to show the community that it doesn't matter what your beliefs are, we can still be friends. I talked to them and they do want to hold an event. I met with Milko, she's the vice president of the organization, and they want to have a movie event here at the student center with snacks, and they do want to have tabling and table place to promote this event. They wanted to have it at the end of November, but they really had no game plan, so I did recommend that they should move it to January, which I do believe is Martin Luther King month. And Martin Luther King Jr. Day is like the second or third week of that. So I did recommend that they should talk to the MLK Junior Planning Committee to see if they can partner up with them so they can have this huge event. They were expecting about 50 people, but I don't know the exact projections. I just gave recommendations, and I'm still working with them to assist them with that event.
Okay, moving on to sorry.
There's still more. So I also met with Dean Capel and Dean Newell with Michael, and we told them our projections for the year, and we asked them what they thought of them and if they had any projections for us. Basically, we're focused on retention, transfers, and freshmen. And Dean Capel recommended a transfer lounge. Although he did say that there is no space here, we can find an area for a certain amount of time to have a transfer lounge, basically a space where transfer students can hang out together and feel welcomed and have a small community. We also talked about the Pasteur Center, which is going to be student-driven in its upcoming next semester. So I believe he was a former congressman for Arizona, correct me if I'm wrong, and basically he established the center to promote policy implementation and just student outreach. So that is coming up. Also with the Public Service Academy, Dean Capel did express that they are working on basically a bridge program. So from the college, community college to ASU, he wants to have the Public Service Academy still going strong within that gap. So those students who will go to community college coming to transfer to ASU, they'll be able to be in that program with the assistance, with the credits for that program and all the workshops included. Dean Capel did say that he enjoyed our ideas and he liked that we're working to aim for a better inclusion environment within our students. And then for EAC, our gaming event is coming next semester because time is very limited and we do want to focus on this. And that's my update for today.
The gaming event, do you know where you would think you're requesting funding from?
No, not yet. I mean, we're just ideas as of now, but we are basically setting a budget and we do want to have everything, the ideas finalized by the end of this month. So we can have December to basically email and talk to the organizations that we want to work with, and then after that we come in and commence gameplay. So yeah, thank you, good question. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving on to prom night. I'll start. So here. Just a reminder to get your war reports on time, which is Thursday at 11:59. I know that there were 3 or 4 of you who did get them in on time, and then there were 2 of you, Ernesto and Enrique, who did not get them in at all. So make sure you do get those in. I wanted to remind you guys that Google has like this really cool ability up there. There's like a comments button, and you can comment on other people's war reports. So I encourage you all to do that, just to see what other people are doing and for interconnectedness within us, and comment if you can help with a project or if you think this is a good idea or affirmation or something like that. I'm just showing you that that's an option and encouraging you to do it. In terms of prom night, we are still planning the end of the year celebration for prom night as well as prom night coffee house. We're working with the Walter Prom Night College Council to do so. My meeting with Alexis this week got canceled, so we're rescheduling for next week. And then in GovOps, we're working on interview documents today. So not that much going on, but still. Austin.
Okay. She is, which is amazing. But I gotta find what else. Let's see. Sorry. It's hard taking a minutes.
I know there's you.
I appreciate
Find a director of advocacy.
I feel very like drained right now. I'm sorry. So biggest thing right now is I went and walked around UCent on Monday and looked, and yeah, there's no hand sanitizer. So I emailed the person in contact with the number. I was thinking, so there's 9 floors in UCent. There's none in like public areas, not even by the bathrooms. So I think if you go to the bathroom, you should be washing your hands anyways. So I don't really think it's necessary to put them over there, but I do think by the entrances of the building, that would be an appropriate place, and then maybe by not on the first floor, but on the other floors by the elevator bays. That way, students could like do that really fast before they go in. There's 9 floors, so we would need 8, and then I was thinking 3 on the base. So to ballpark, like I emailed Taziana Esprella and told her that we were looking at getting about 15 hand sanitizers, probably less, but I wanted to go above what I was projecting. That way we could work with that number. Try to get like logistics of, because we would have to fund this. The university probably wouldn't fund this. Put those in there. We would be responsible for the upkeep as well, kind of with the filters, the filtered water that we do. But that's in our contract with the company that does the filtered water. So that's a little bit easier. But we would just have to come up with the we would have to do the like supplies, so we would have to keep putting hand sanitizer in them. Haven't received a response from her. It's been 4 days, so waiting on that. And then Jay had a lot of my updates, but then they rescheduled our breakfast with Dean Callahan, and that's what I was looking for. I had it marked in here, and I can't find it. It was supposed to be on the 28th, but it's,
I don't know.
yeah, we're supposed to have breakfast with him as part of, like, they do like a breakfast every few times a semester with like student leaders so that Dean Callahan can kind of get like a gauge of like things that students need. And they moved it, so. Sorry, I'm just like kind of crossing over. Any questions? Yes.
As far as like the hand sanitizer thing in buildings, awesome. I don't think it would be such a bad idea to like look into putting them near bathrooms, because that's where like, while we would hope that people wash their hands, that's where like a majority of the germs are,
Yeah.
is like over there. And
Okay.
there's like vending machines and stuff like that, so I think that'd be like a thing to look into.
Do you guys think that we should have them by the elevator bays and at the bathrooms? Or at one or the other? Yes.
I think that most people that are going to use hand sanitizer are going to wash their hands in the bathroom anyways. So I think that putting them near the bathroom is kind of pointless. I think near the elevator is useful because everyone kind of goes by there. So everyone's looking to quickly sanitize themselves.
Okay.
It'll probably be most.
And we could even, like, the first floor bathroom has like the most traffic, obviously, in my opinion, so we could look at putting it in the first floor bathrooms as well.
Did you consider putting them by the computers, like on the second floor or anything? Because like, I noticed there's nothing to clean those keyboards either. And you know, I think that is as well. Maybe just like one like by the table or something, but like we have something in those rooms that where students sit there and switch off and on.
Yeah, once I get the pricing information and like logistics of the upkeep from this person, I'll like go back and look and see like where exactly, that way, you know, kind of a ballpark of like how much do we want this to cost and how much upkeep, you know, each year we have to spend on this. So, like, right here.
All right, health solutions.
Okay. So I worked on the interview sessions with Jackson and with Boston, and so for the project that we were working on with Addie and Allison, what I'm trying to do. So I got in contact with one of the CAs to get the contact list, and so I contacted the two CAs who would do this CHS course, and I'm waiting to get back from them. But I created a like questionnaire asking like, so like how's the freshman year been so far? Do you plan on staying in the CHS college, or do you also like if you're gonna stay downtown next semester or next year? Also like what do you want improved for your experience at CHS? And I'm just gonna like hand these out, or however the CAs want to do it. I want to collaborate with them, see how they want to do it. But either way, I want them to answer these questions so that way we can have like a hard copy or something that we can actually give to Addie and Allison for them to look at, and then from there we're gonna work and see what they want us to do from this project. So this is kind of like the first step, and then like we're gonna improve with it. So that's it so far. I was gonna say like. I plan on meeting with, this is gonna be, I hope to plan, like, to have a meeting before next week. And then the week after, I hope to meet with Dean Lindor, but I don't know yet, because I don't have
So I don't want to repeat too much of what Nancy said about the project because she's not leading that.
Sunday, here we go, first day. I'm gonna go to the circle. Oh, okay.
So that's the news.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah.
Other than that, just collaborating with that project will be nice. Work with Sloan, Nathan, and Marianne on the UBC flipboard to make sure that that was ready for use. So I got 5 people to come to my office hours and test out the packet, and they all really liked it, which is good news because the point of it is to be effective. So, and also with that, we're going to need people to help us out with that tabling event. So I'm going to send out a spreadsheet sheet. Whenever I have done the sheet, right? That's all my
Okay. Now we're moving on to Senate Resolution 4. Is there a motion to discuss?
A motion to discuss, second.
Awesome. All right, everybody, so we have, I'm not sure how this process goes. We have an amendment to Senate Resolution 4. We did some changes, so I'll just go over those real quick. Do we have a hit on here?
I think
No.
so. It would be a second.
We do not.
Well, but I can, if we have a bill at least, yeah, I can at least say that. Well, look at it. It's not percent off.
Okay, no.
Just wait a moment.
It says that you're second.
Yeah. Explain the background. And all of a sudden, the wrong account.
Okay, so the background for the amendments that we have, I kind of alluded to, I got a hold of the UT Austin bill. And what we did, we compared it to our bill, and then we compared all of our bill and the amendments that we wanted to go through to Arizona laws and how like they incorporate. So like what does an Arizona ID that counts for voter identification, like what is that? So we went through that whole background and then added all that into our bill. So what we're coming up with, we're gonna change the lines you're not gonna be able to see necessarily. So lines 23 and 24, we're going to remove part of it to say like instead of many students do not know the last 4 digits of their social security number or carry it on them, we're going to change it to whereas many students do not carry state identification consistently on campus. That's one of the amendments. Then we're scrolling down to the end and we added in recognizing Proposition 105 passed in 1998, which protects Proposition 200 and prevents the amendment of repeal of voter initiatives unless it furthers the mission of original initiative. So I know this is a lot of like jargon that goes along with like all the bills. So now going to Prop 200, which passed in 2004, those are all the photo ID requirements, and it was a voter-backed initiative. So it's very important to have 105 and 200 mentioned in the same bill, and noting it in our resolution that we're putting together. And then one further amendment that we're gonna have is line 48, which you can see there, the red in legislation is what we're gonna get rid of, and we're changing that with electoral and legislative measures. So it's just it's more defined and does a better job. In the email that I sent you all, you could notice this on your computers if you haven't pulled up in front of you. I sent it out probably 25 minutes before the meeting because that's when I got it done. So, are there any questions on that?
Okay.
Clarify, what are you voting on?
I move to vote to amend Senate Resolution. Well, I move to pass this.
To pass or to amend the bill as we just went over?
Because it doesn't have these.
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, we made one amendment for this.
Okay.
So if we're recommending a recommendation, so if it's so moved and then a second, then we'll be good, as long as that's an amendment, not a vote for it.
Isn't it the sixth regular session?
That's it. Yeah, and that'll have to be amended too. So we can add that as an amend the amendment. That's how we're gonna have to.
Okay. All those in favor of amending the amendment to say sixth regular session instead of fifth, because this is our sixth Senate meeting, raise your hand. Okay. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, passed.
Now for the actual amendment.
All those in favor of amending Senate Resolution 4, raise your hand. Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, passed.
Okay, now the floor is open for the amended legislation.
Okay, is there anything to discuss?
Move to discuss.
Second.
The floor is open, you guys can discuss it however much you want, so when we talk about that, then I'll have to reopen. So is there more discussion or questions? Because there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't think we talked about. So, So the reason we have those two propositions is because this will not be a simple pass it at the legislature. So what you're signing on for is a stance not only at the Capitol, but a stance at the election polls if this goes through. Because the only way you're going to change this law is to have a statewide vote that overturns it. Because in Arizona, when you pass something through direct democracy as an initiative or referendum, you cannot amend it as a legislature unless it furthers the purpose of what was previously passed and has a 3/4 majority. One thing is, this may or may not further it as intended. The other thing is, 3/4 majority probably isn't going to happen at this Capitol. So what's going to happen most likely is that basically you can ask for a referendum from the legislature, which would be the tactic we'd probably be going with, to say we want to have student IDs. Also note, in the current point, as Nathan wrote it, university and community college IDs. So you're signing on for being in support of community college IDs and university IDs, being a student, being registered, being able to register to vote. And that would have to go through to the masses, and we'd still be supporting that. You can remove our support for it on the election scale, and you can just support it by putting it on the poll. But this one supports both sides. So this would be something that you could say, oh, if there is a campaign, they'd say, oh, the students support this, which is a stance which will either win you friends or not win you friends at the legislature. So be cognizant of that when we're talking about this.
So if I'm understanding it, will it need to be another proposition that's put on the ballot, so, November 2016, that the voters would vote on to do this?
Yes, it would have to be a second election to essentially override the election in 2004, unless it can be considered that it still goes with the same purpose, which you can make an argument for, but if anyone challenges it in the courts, it's probably easier just to do it that way. And don't forget, 3/4 majority. It's hard, they have a majority of similar size for tax increases, and you're not going to see that either. So it's a pretty darn hard thing to get out of 90 legislatures, 3/4 of that to vote on the same issue, especially when the population passed these to be restrictive in a way in 2004 when they were originally passed.
Is there a motion or is there a movement to vote? Okay, all those in favor of approving Senate Resolution 4, please raise your placard. Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Resolution 4. Okay, moving on to Senate Bill 8. So Senate Bill 8 clarifies the 3 strikes rule. There will need to be an amendment to change 4th regular session to 6th regular session. And this just details a 3 strike system for violations against the Article 2 of our Senate bylaws. So office hour violations, things like that. I move to amend the
bill. To say 6 regular sessions.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor of amending Senate Bill 8 to read 6 regular sessions instead of 4 regular session? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving Senate Bill 8, 3 strikes rule, please raise your placard. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved, Senate Bill 8. Okay, moving on to Senate Bill 9, this is the Senate discretionary bill. There will need to be an amendment to this as well to read 6th regular session instead of 4th regular session, but this bill gives the Senate President, which is Lauren, the discretion to deem something mandatory as long as it's announced 10 business days ahead of time. So she can deem an event, meeting, or training mandatory as long as she announces it and tells you 10 business days ahead of time.
I move to amend fourth regular session to say 6 regular session.
Okay, all those in favor of changing fourth regular session to 6 regular session? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Any further discussion? No, I just vote. Okay, second? Okay. All those in favor of approving Senate Bill 9, Senate President discretionary bill? All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to Senate Bill 10. Does anybody see my mouse? Yeah. Okay, this is, I don't know why this is doing this. Okay. This is Senate Bill 10, and it just basically repeals the blog requirement in the bylaws. And this will need an amendment as well from 4th regular session to 6th regular session.
I move to amend fourth regular session to say read 6th regular session instead of 10.
Okay, all those in favor of changing 4th regular session to 6th regular session? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah. So, question, do you?
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, you're not raising it? Okay.
I'm just waiting.
So can I bring to attention, this might be relevant, but this may be because we already passed it. Back on Senate Bill 8, we have section 3.2. And so I understand that it was supposed to be section 3 of Article 2. But just from my own structural view, there is only one section currently in Article 2. So you'd be adding a third section and a first section without a second section. Beyond that, I think it's supposed to be section 2, 3 strikes violations, instead it reads section 3, 2 strikes violations. Would you like to have clarification on that before we put that into more formal law, or reconsider that?
I think that's just me not knowing how to word it right here.
Okay. So let's bring that up next.
Since when
You
it's
want that
section
amendment.
3, article 2, like, so you have to.
Eventually. No, let's just bring that up after this. We'll have reconsideration. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, just Bill 10.
Okay, all those in favor of, second? Okay, all those in favor of approving Senate Bill 10? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved.
We have a reconsideration, so I need I think everyone you voted for Senate Bill 8. Any of you can make a motion then for reconsideration.
Second.
Now we have to vote.
Okay, all those in favor of reconsidering Senate Bill 8? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions?
So bring it up so we can all talk about this and read through it so we don't make any other mistakes while I'm trying to talk about this.
Bill 8, right?
Yes. So this is one of those things where it's okay on a case-by-case basis, but this is also kind of what happens when you get too many of these and then you just have jumps in logic between different things. What I would mention is that currently we can add a section to it, you can add a section, but you have one section right now within Article 2. There is no second section. So I'd recommend not putting a third section in if that was what was written. Yeah, so I would recommend the first thing is that section should be a 2. And somebody should keep track of this because I can't really edit this unless I do a copy. Let's try that.
So, point of clarification, it should read section 2.2 or section 3.2, and then I guess I'm just very confused.
Yeah. So the first thing is that when you look at be it enacted, that section 3 is added to second Article 2. Let's make that section 2.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Next part, in the actual highlight. Section, I'm assuming you guys want to call this 3 strikes violations, but you could simply leave it as strikes violations. I don't care, but I would recommend removing that 3 or by either putting it after the colon or not having it there at all. That's your choice. Well, can I ask what your intention was?
If it was section, no, I'm just confused. Yeah, I think, yeah.
So section, so just strikes violations or 3 strikes violations?
It should say section 2, 3 strikes violations.
Oh, so.
3. Yeah, so let's move that there.
And then this would be 2.1. No? Would be.
We can put it
Do you have
as.
to do this?
Okay. So,
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I moved to,
amend,
and there's still amendments.
oh,
Yeah, so we should put one section.
Section 2, 3 strikes. Section 2, 3 strikes.
Yeah, so all that has to be remembered. Is the A, it's supposed to be 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we also, so, we're gonna have fun with this. Let's try.
Can we not keep it as a section 3?
You can keep it as, no, there's no section 2, so it goes from section 1 to section 3.
So this,
I'm trying to. There's a lot more.
So we have to figure them out.
No, I
We have
legit
to
don't
know
know.
what they meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Article 2. I'm like, table it and then like figure out what changes they need to make.
That's up to you guys if you don't want to spend the time here, but that's your choices.
I moved to table Senate Bill 8.
Do you want to refer it to the DevOps?
Sure. I move to table, well, recommend this bill to, refer this bill to the GovOps committee.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of referring Senate Bill 8 to the Government Operations Committee? Okay, all those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
Did you all talk about this in Senate caucus?
It's not there.
Yeah.
They discussed it, they don't be there, they don't read the bill, but they discussed it.
Okay. So I just want to take this as a lesson of how important it is to read the bill verbatim, because this is how we get bills where we are just correcting grammatical mistakes from the past, because we've done so many bills correcting past administration's grammatical mistakes. So it's just, we want to make sure that we always read every bill verbatim, because especially when it comes to this legislation, sometimes if you have comma in the wrong place, it actually has a different meaning than what you mean. And so I just want to take this time to recognize that.
The Senate Bill 11 was not uploaded onto the website in time, so we're not going to be doing that. We're going to, okay. All those in favor of tabling Senate Bill 11? Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. All right, call to the audience. The audience like to say anything? Okay, final statements.
I actually forgot to mention 2 things in that updates. So one thing that we talked about in PTS board was the Lipstick Act. They're looking to do geofencing. So where the shuttle, they're working on it so that they're gonna geofence the shuttle like stops. So like whenever the shuttle is arriving there, it'll tell you exactly where the shuttle is on the app itself. So then you can tell if it's late, if it's early, where the shuttle is exactly, and what stops it has already visited on its way. And then also the fencing on parking. So whether that's like, so like when they have the parking app that you can use to pay your parking from your phone, you would use that geofencing so that you could, from your phone, like if you're already in class and your meter's running out, you can add more time by putting the lot number that it has on the geofencing on the app. And then they're looking to possibly, this is just like something that they're working on, possibly get new buses so that these buses would have outlets and USB ports for phones, so you can like charge your phone on the bus and have it have Wi-Fi, so you can actually do your work on the bus as well. So that's it.
Wait, so I forgot to tell you that the library actually reached out to me and basically they're buying new furniture and new things for the library, and so they asked the student government to help educate them on what the students want to see. It's kind of, mainly this would kind of fall on CAT as like services and whatnot, but I want to reach out to the senators as well because you're all college representatives. Right now, we just had a brief email discussion. I just said, what is the level we could be involved? And she said, as much as you want. And so I just need all of you to basically let me know if you want to be involved in kind of the library project so that I can kind of send you CAT's way and whatnot. So I just wanted to let you all know that that's a thing. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you.
So a quick comment real quick that I'll basically bring up later though. I don't know if this is happening or not for our sake, but just also a request to please make sure we have a blind version of all of this stuff that we're talking about. So like when we do have something like that, it's a lot easier for us to discuss what the problems are if we have line numbers instead of trying to describe which random point I'm talking about and the sea of random points. You can do that in Word documents right now. There's a whole bunch of things I can show you how to do it because I finally figured it out today actually of how to actually screw with it instead of just copy and pasting it on somebody else's work. However, and that's the truth too, you can apply a lot of other stuff. But the other part to that is just that with the PDF that was currently on the website and just the Google Job Doc, we can't do that necessarily. So that just makes it a little bit more complex. We'll look again to see if there's a way to do it on Google Docs. Google Docs is still a great way to like do comments and collaborate on the creation of builds. But whenever you finish up, please make sure that something has lines on it so we can actually just help those out.
Cool. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? Okay. At 4:30 p.m.
Lily's good.